Welcome to the Eye Opener. I'm your host, Michael Lewis. Some say Biden handing the responsibility of fixing the border crisis to Harris is like giving her an unpinned grenade. Is Harris up for the task? Now that we understand that the mainstream media censors news and manipulates narratives, how long has Hollywood been manipulating your mind? Okay, my friends, let us take a closer look together. Politico recently published an article saying when Joe Biden tapped Kamala Harris in to resolve the root causes of the current migrant surge, he handed her a political grenade. On March 24th, Biden announced in the White House that Harris will be in charge of efforts to stem the flow of migrants at the U.S.-Mexico border.
I asked her, the VP today, because she's the most qualified person to do it, to lead our efforts with Mexico and the Northern Triangle and the countries that help. We're going to need help in stemming the movement of so many folks stemming the migration to our southern border.
Biden said that he could think of nobody who's better qualified than Harris to tackle the border challenge. This is the first significant item in the vice president's portfolio. Biden said, when she speaks for me. Doesn't have to check with me. For Kamala Harris, a former California senator, attorney general, and San Francisco district attorney, the new role could put her before a national audience who may only know little about her. It's an opportunity for Harris to strengthen her political credentials in front of America. But the border issue is not an easy task. A person close to Harris said, quote, "The problem cannot be solved by one person or in 4 or 8 years. As has been proved by the litany of past failures by people of goodwill and talent," end quote. If Harris handles it well, it will be one of her biggest accomplishments. If not, it could also be one of her most unforgettable failures. With the experience of controversy from the past 2 presidents on what to do about the overwhelming flow of migrants, a number of people close to Harris speculate that taking over this task will complicate her political future. Before we continue, if you aren't familiar with Kamala Harris and her record as California Attorney General and San Francisco DA, please check out our March 11th episode, where we revealed her path to political power, something she shouldn't be proud of. I've put the link to the episode below for you to check out. Many Democrats are saying that the risk-return trade-off which Harris is taking in dealing with the migrant surge isn't worth it. Democrat senior advisor Mark Pence said, for a vice president who will have to improve her credentials not only in the next 4 years, but possibly in the next 15 to 20 years, this is an important time. On the other hand, the strategist said, quote, "It's fraught with political peril." Biden had been widely criticized by liberals for the surge in deportations of migrants when he was vice president. Biden tried to exempt himself from the blame by saying as vice president he didn't have the power to make those policies in question. So some people are saying Harris will be the first to blame on the border crisis, even though she isn't the immigration policy maker. But she couldn't turn it down. A former advisor to Harris said, when you are vice president and the president assigns you a very important job, you only have one choice. Biden himself also admitted that he handed Harris a tough job.
So, Madam Vice President, thank you. I gave you a tough job and you're smiling, but there's no one better capable of trying to organize this.
Well, thank you, Mr. President, and for having the confidence in me. And there's no question that this is a challenging situation.
Not surprisingly, Republicans have been slamming the idea of appointing Harris to lead the effort of solving the border crisis after Biden made the announcement. Arizona Governor Doug Ducey called Kamala Harris the worst possible choice for the border job on March 24th. He said at no point in her career has Harris given an indication that she considers the border a problem or a serious threat. Ducey told reporters that Biden had completely trivialized the issue by putting someone in charge who flat out just doesn't care. Ducey said if Biden seriously wants to solve the border problem, he would have chosen someone with more experience or some passion, and Harris had none of those. In fact, in 2018, Senator Kamala Harris was trying to manipulate and dominate a Senate hearing as she compared Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers, ICE, to the KKK.
Are you aware of the perception of many about how the power and the discretion at ICE is being used to enforce the laws? And do you see any parallels?
I do not see any parallels between
I'm talking about perception.
officers and agents.
I'm talking about perception.
I do not see a parallel between what is constitutionally mandated as it relates to enforcing the law.
Are you aware that
protecting
there's a
people's rights.
perception?
I see no
Are you aware that there's a
that puts
perception?
ICE in the same category as the KKK. Is that what you're asking me?
No, I'm very specific about what I'm asking you. Are you aware of a perception?
You think Biden didn't know where Harris comes from? He had heard enough from her during the Democrat primary last year. So a better interpretation could be that Biden has other motives for the appointment. Former House Speaker Republican Newt Gingrich told Fox News that Biden is a clever man who knows how to duck responsibilities. He said, "It is very clever of Biden on the eve of the press conference to turn it over to her. So with every question tomorrow about the border, he can say, that is Vice President Harris's job, and you need to talk to her about it. Next question." Although Harris's exact role hasn't been laid out fully publicly, and a White House spokesperson has reiterated Harris's role isn't about handling the administration's immigration activity at the border, Harris is expected to approach the migrant surge from the roots and work with the leaders of the Northern Triangle and Latin America. Some senior officials working in immigration policy say even though the new role would help Harris grow, there will be constant criticism from the left and the right on her. Although people hold different views on Biden tapping Harris in to tackle the border crisis, the arrangement has nonetheless stirred strong interest in Harris's political future among Democrats. Some Democrat members see Harris as the party's obvious successor. At least on March 22nd, the profile photo of the White House's official Twitter account was changed to "Welcome to the Biden-Harris White House." On March 28th, the homepage of the White House's official website was changed from just the Biden administration to the Biden-Harris administration. Neither of the previous two administrations listed the vice president on their main website or social media channels. It is an unprecedented move. The term Biden-Harris administration can also be a form of co-branding. Another interpretation is there are two top decision makers in the White House. Many Americans already sense this. According to a recent poll from March by the Rasmussen Report, a shocking 47% of American voters believe that others are making decisions for Biden behind the scenes. Is Joe Biden only the front man for the Democratic Party? On the immigration policy alone, Biden hasn't been consistent. Now, he calls for creating more facilities or even to pay tens of millions in hotel services to host the illegal migrants. But back in 2019, during the Democratic presidential debate, he supported deportation of the illegals.
If you cross the border illegally, you should be able to be sent back. It's a crime.
Correct. Biden was known as a moderate Democrat, but now it's the progressive radical Democrats in control of the party, and Kamala Harris is definitely on the radical branch. So another interpretation to Biden's appointment would be, in Biden's words, "I disagree with your approach to the illegals. I don't think you guys could solve the border crisis, but Harris agrees with you guys, so let her do the job. Go ahead and don't blame it on me." A week ago, a leaked email from an employee of a federal government agency reveals the White House seeks to elevate VP Harris's position in the Biden administration. A top White House communication team instructs all agencies to refer to the administration as the Biden-Harris administration. Does Harris still need to be elevated in her status? How much further can a vice president be elevated? The role of vice president of the United States has been somewhat awkward. Although the vice president is the first in line of presidential succession, it tends to be a low-profile character. Now, just think about Mike Pence and Joe Biden and Dick Cheney's roles as vice president just for a few seconds. Compared to the president they served, they were pretty much invisible. But all of this is different when it comes to Kamala Harris. Some people don't want her to fall under the stereotype. Since February, Harris has performed presidential duties on behalf of Biden on different occasions, including making phone calls with leaders of foreign countries. A White House assistant earlier affirmed Harris's role in foreign policies. The assistant said although Harris is not as experienced as Biden in foreign affairs, she will play a major role to help Biden in dealing with foreign countries. In terms of domestic affairs, Harris also plays an important role in the environment, COVID-19, immigration, and the economy. Although Biden said at his first solo press conference that he expects to run for re-election in 2024, he is getting on in years. What's worse, there's been a widespread suspicion on his cognitive capability. It's no doubt that the Democratic Party desperately needs a future leader to represent the new generation of American voters. Kamala Harris is seen as an ideal candidate for this purpose, but she needed help to be more known. Biden knows it very well. When he was campaigning last year, he said, quote, "Look, I view myself as a bridge, not as anything else. There's an entire generation of leaders you saw stand behind me. They are the future of the country." To pave the road for Harris' political future, the Democratic Party wants Harris to act more independently in Biden's administration for her own branding. They are preparing her to become a leader of the Democratic Party and even the United States. Now, let me ask you, as American voters, would you want Kamala Harris to be the leader of the country? Let's end this discussion with former President Trump's comments.
Joe Biden is running on the most extreme, far-left platform of any nominee in American history. All they have to look is at the Biden-Harris. How about her? Is she a beauty? What a beauty that is. They pick a woman who starts off sort of strong. She's one of the favorites. Within a period of a few months, she goes down, 15, 12, 11, 9, 8, 5, 3, 2. Then she goes, "I'm going to leave because I've decided that I want to leave. She left because she wouldn't have gotten any votes. She was terrible. And this would be your president, possibly? I don't think so.
Now, before we continue, if you haven't already, please join me on the Eye Opener Telegram chat room. It's a great place to share your thoughts and connect with others. The chat room link is down below. And if you are new to the show, allow me to say welcome. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell. I also want to thank all of you who are not new but support us every day. It is absolutely a pleasure to be able to deliver to you news that matters. Okay, my friends, let's get back to the show. So what do you do when your values and beliefs are challenged every single day when you go to work? And even more so, the work itself eats away at your conscience bit by bit. Now, two successful Hollywood filmmakers, Cary and Chuck Konzelman, experienced just that and had a choice to make. People tend to believe that Hollywood is ruled by money, but in fact, political correctness and leftism is what rules Hollywood. Konzelman described in his interview with Joshua Phillips on The Crossroads. The way Hollywood operates is that if someone is given an opportunity that can bring in a fortune, they will be required to violate their morals, destroying everything the person believes in, Konzelman went on to explain. Solomon and Konzelman have been writers and producers in the entertainment industry for 30 years. They have worked with Warner Brothers, Paramount, Sony-Columbia, and 20th Century Fox, and eventually made the decision to leave Hollywood behind. Solomon describes Hollywood at the time he left as,
and it was horrible. It was dark, it was perverse, it was everything we weren't. It's political, spiritual, moral, intentions were all evil in our opinion, and we were about to leave. We were about to leave the business because, our soul was being just destroyed. Any creative spirit you have is crushed by Hollywood because they take the attitude that if you don't think like us, if you're not an automaton, if you're not a machine that thinks the way we want, morally, spiritually, or in any other way, we don't need you, we'll destroy you, we'll crush you. So you're fighting, you're constantly swimming upstream.
Hollywood, as an international symbol of American culture, has served to broadcast and amplify American values worldwide. But according to the two filmmakers, Hollywood has now become an instrument for exposing all of humanity to distorted, anti-traditional values. Movies are a ubiquitous part of everyday life, and watching it frequently can change people's worldviews without them noticing. Research conducted by the Media Research Center found that the more people watch television and movies, the less committed they are to the traditional values of honesty, reliability, fairness, and the more tolerant their attitudes are likely to be towards controversial moral issues.
There's a tremendous darkness in Hollywood that people don't know. I used to say that if the people actually knew what was going on behind the scenes in Hollywood, it would be like one of those old black and white films where the villagers get the pitchforks and the torches and they come to burn the monster in the castle. They would burn down the studios.
Hollywood was once the greatest commodity in America. It supported freedom during World War II, but now the devil has corrupted it. It's dark, it's perverse, Solomon said. It's the face of evil. It's the destructive mechanism that could destroy the world, and people don't see it. So instead of sitting back and accepting the way things are, they decided to do something about it.
We were called to come out of Hollywood and start a new Hollywood, which was basically where faith and family and tradition and all these things and truth matter, and that's literally how it started.
After leaving Hollywood, Solomon and Konzelman began producing films that aligned with their values and had a string of successes. The first film, God's Not Dead, was produced for under $1 million and made over $130 million. And their most recent success was a testament to their determination. Both filmmakers encountered challenges and pushbacks every step of the way while working on the movie Unplanned, a pro-life drama. They had to film under an assumed name and covertly make the movie in Oklahoma for concerns of the production being attacked. The film almost didn't get completed. They were short $1 million with 3 days to go, and it was looking like they were done for sure. Sitting in their production office with 20 minutes left, Solomon and Konzelman got a phone call with somebody on the other end asking for their banking routing number. To their astonishment, the person told them that he is flying in his jet and he was divinely inspired to send them $1 million. 8 minutes later, the funds arrived in their account, and in their own words, it was a miracle. The film ultimately got made, and although it met with an onslaught of suppression by cable outlets and social media, it was nonetheless a massive success, grossing over $20 million at the box office. Many were inspired by the accomplishment of these two filmmakers. Solomon added, "All the people like us, we have to stand up. It's time. It's time to go forward for what we believe. Otherwise, they're going to be telling us what to believe, and they're already doing that now." Here at The Eye Opener, we believe in truth, and that's something which drives us to create this program for all truth-seeking Americans and people around the world. And that's it for today, my friends. Check out this playlist right here for more eye-opening content. You can also follow me on YouMaker, Gab, Parler, and Telegram. Don't forget, please sign up to the email list so that way we can stay in contact with each other. Thank you all, and I'll see you next time.